Initiating sound check. Preparing and initiating pan test. Pan test left. Pan test right. Left. Right. Pan test complete. Sound check now complete. All systems are ready.
I gotta close the window before I record because New York don't know how to be quiet.
What up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and don't panic quite yet. Now, of course, round of applause for yourselves, NBA champions, New York Knicks. It feels so good. We're in a very interesting landscape, and a lot of the NBA media, I should say, are trying to take this away from the fan base, but make no mistake about it, it was built brick by brick with Leon Rose at the helm, and we're going to see where they take it going forward. And we got some interesting topics as NBA media is still trying to somewhat justify themselves on how to interpret this Knicks championship because it didn't go according to the storylines and narratives that they had set out. So to start off, we'll hear from a championship team that was sort of overlooked, that blueprint that they had, and Isiah Thomas and the Bad Boy Pistons, as we'll hear from him speak on how Jalen Brunson and kind of the tone that he's setting in today's positionless NBA of how GMs will look at small guards going forward. Then we'll touch base with former Knick Channing Frye as he shared a lot of untold Larry Brown stories. Also, Carmelo Anthony and Jeremy Lin finally had a sit down where they discussed that little tension that was in the air after the Linsanity days. And we're going to get into it because it's politics as usual, especially with Carmelo Anthony not necessarily agreeing with Mike D'Antoni's playstyle. And last but not least, we're going to touch base with Charles Oakley debunking Adam Silver and his comments about the update of the relationship between James Dolan and, of course, the Oak Man. This is the interesting thing about today's current media landscape. A lot of players are going to be quickly platformed to debunk a bunch of narratives. So right now we're in very interesting times because with the Knicks winning this NBA championship, it has caused the media to scramble as their narratives do not fit exactly what turned out on the court, especially with the Knicks dominating in the playoffs the way that they did. Funny enough, there has been previous NBA champions who actually been downplayed, especially how they influenced the league going forward. A prime example is Isiah Thomas and the Bad Boy Pistons, as in the 80s, they were basically a few incidents away from three-peating in between Michael Jordan's era, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson. Now, the blueprint that they did have as far as physicality was applied by Pat Riley when he joined the Knicks, but make no mistake about it, that Bad Boy Pistons team was also a jump shooting team with the backcourt of Isiah Thomas and Joe Dumars, which has been duplicated with the Splash Brothers with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. They do share a very similar play style, as the Pistons did have a stretch five in Bill Laimbeer shooting threes. But with the Pistons nearly three-peating during a big man's era, Isiah Thomas being considered a little man did have NBA front office personnel going forward look at the small guard in a different light, the same way Jalen Brunson this season winning the championship has done. But right here, we're going to check out a great conversation between Isiah Thomas, Tim Hardaway, and Lindsey Hunter, a few of the other small guards in the league. And Isiah Thomas brings up quite a few points about Jalen Brunson and his player archetype winning the championship, and what does that mean going forward? Because he sees a lot of parallels that happen with him being a little man leading his team to a championship. The NBA is a copycat league, and Isiah Thomas gives great insight on how GMs are interpreting the way this Knicks team was built, who led it, and the results of their success. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
So let me ask you this. So what you think about New York, Jalen Brunson, and what they accomplished by winning the NBA Finals?
So I say this, and Tim, Lindsey, you know, the three of us who have played in the NBA, this is what we know as small people. Once we get our game right, we're looking at everybody in the NBA saying, you can't guard me, you can't guard me, you can't guard me. And what Jalen Brunson just proved again is that when your game is tight and right, no matter what size you are, you become the best at what you do.
Facts.
And there wasn't a player in the NBA this year that you could say, oh, he can guard Jalen Brunson.
Facts. That's a fact.
He lit the whole league up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially the San Antonio Spurs, who were supposed to be the best perimeter defense in the league. They gave SGA a lot of issues, but yet Jalen Brunson, he did share some similar issues, but he still overcame it. That was the craziest part. He overcame the way they just game planned for him night in and night out. And it didn't matter who was on him. It could have been Castle, Harper, Vessel. And it's a hell of a thing because the Spurs were not only tight around the perimeter with all their guards defending, but those guards will also push you into the paint where there's a 7'6" center swatting shots left and right. Again, a lot of the national NBA media is scrambling right now to make sense of this because this is not the kind of information that was given to the audience throughout the regular season. They were trying to hop on a Wemby wave a little bit too quick and chasing clicks. Isiah Thomas right here is going to let you know that this is nothing new.
That's a fact.
He lit the whole league up.
Yeah.
Now, this is what all of us face as small people, right? We get the question when we beat the bigger guys. Now, you just watch me win.
Right.
Why I'm not the best? Why I'm not the best?
Right.
Why can't I be the best?
Dude, you just watch me win.
Right.
Now you come to me in my locker room after I beat all your big guys. You ask the small guy, hey, what do you think about that big guy over there?
I cut his head off.
Didn't you see that?
Right.
But we don't get to, I'm older now. So, but when I was playing and you get the mic, you can't really be that brass with it, right?
Right.
But I'm sure in Jalen Brunson's mind, he's like, they talking about the face of the league. Dude, didn't you just see me whop the face of the league?
Yeah.
That y'all...
But my thing is, Zeke, why are they trying to force it on Wemby, where Jalen Brunson, as a 6'2" guard, just delivered the first championship in New York since 1973? Why can't he be the face of the league?
Well, first off, it's not according to their business model. The media does not know how to sell a lot of players. They don't know how to market them. And even an international player like Wemby, they fully don't know how to market him. Same thing for Luka. That's why they're hoping for the best with Anthony Edwards for him to elevate so they can market that quote-unquote American swag.
Why are they trying to push it on Wemby? And I know Wemby is cold and he's proven a lot of things, but Jalen Brunson just got it done as a smaller guard.
So, see, that was the question we was asking in Detroit when we beat Bird, Magic, and Jordan, but they made Jordan the face of the league. And here in Detroit, they were saying, why can't all guys be the face of the league? Why is this one elevated when you see him 3-4 years in a row beating your face of the league?
Right.
Well, to me,
and so when you ask that question, right, it's a much deeper question in terms of who they want to be the face of the league, not who's the best.
And that right there is what we're seeing ever since the Knicks won the championship. It's the team that they want to market versus the team that's actually having the bigger impact. Also, when it comes to the individual levels, the same thing. At the end of the day, when you look back at the Knicks Spurs NBA Finals, you're truly watching a masterclass of Jalen Brunson walking that Spurs defense, including Wemby, down into the paint as a little man.
Right?
Yeah.
So who do they want to be the face of the league? So they say this guy is. But the small guys, we always have to take a step back because what we realize as small people is that it's a 6'6" and above category.
Right.
You know, for whatever reason, our game, our wins are not counted the same as the big peoples are. There are more people who play basketball like we do
Yes. Then it is
Correct.
the big guys.
than they play like Jordan, Magic, or Bird.
Right.
Right? There are more guys in the world who imitate our game because they can't imitate their game.
They're not that tall.
They're not that tall.
Right.
They're not that tall.
Right.
So this is the question, and this is what always messed me up, because Magic has never had the thought in his mind. It never has occurred to him, what if I was 6'1"? They don't think like that. Now us as little guys,
Yeah, we like, what if we 6'9"? What if we was 6'9"? And what we had right? Come on, man.
And that's a good question. What if Brunson had the same skill set and was Wemby's height? You can only imagine what damage he would be doing. Once again, it shows you how great and fundamentally sound Brunson had to be to overcome the Spurs. And that right there is what's fucking getting overlooked. A lot of this 1A talk. The first take debate culture has killed a lot of the real conversations around the nuances of the game.
Whoa. Right. And so and so they come to the game with a totally different mentality. And I always came to the floor looking at them like, dude, you ain't got a chance because you don't have what I got.
Right.
The only thing you got that I don't have
It's height.
you were a genetic freak, right? Y'all walk around here every day in your life, right? How many times do you really see a 6'9", 6'10",
Not much.
7-foot guy walking down the street? They genetic freaks, right?
Right.
And because of their genetic gifts, size, weight, they have an advantage. But we have zero advantage. But yet when we beat them, it's discounted.
Yeah.
When it should be weighted heavily.
Isiah Thomas, one of the more smarter basketball minds to ever grace the NBA, is bringing up a lot of great points right here. In this whole positionless basketball era that we're in right now, so far, a lot of these combo guards are not necessarily leading their teams into victories, especially the deeper they go into the playoffs. A lot of them are hitting a wall. Donovan Mitchell, Cade Cunningham, even though it's kind of early for him, Paolo Banchero. And the number one culprit, I should say, is Anthony Edwards. He's definitely hit a wall once he reaches up to that Western Conference Finals, or he goes up against teams like Luka and SGA. He's gotten either swept or gentleman swept. So the APB is still out on a lot of players that are trying to play this kind of combo guard. Yeah, I'm going to set the tone. I'm going to control the pace. We're still trying to figure out if these guys could lead their teams past a certain level. Brunson and SGA so far are really the only players to do it. But right here, Isiah Thomas lets it be known that the NBA is a copycat league. And once he started winning championships in a big man's era in the late 80s, a lot of the other NBA front offices started looking at smaller point guards in a different light.
Evolution, right? When you say the game or the position has evolved, I would say that it has sized up again. So when I came into the league, remember we talking about Magic 6'9", Paul Pressey, 6'7", Michael Ray Richardson 6'6", 6'7", Reggie Theus 6'7", 6'6". So everyone had went to bigger guards because of the success that Magic had. When I came in, I was controversial as a second pick because a small guy wasn't supposed to be able to play and win in the NBA.
IT right there is not lying. I believe at the time a mistake on Magic Johnson's part is letting Isiah Thomas be with him when he was there in the finals, either winning or losing, and working out with him over the summer, seeing his preparation. Because once Isiah Thomas started coming up and being a complete rival, they were no longer working out together in the offseason. Once again, Isiah Thomas was there when Magic Johnson lost in the finals and was crying for a whole night. Same thing when he won. Isiah Thomas was in those back rooms. He saw everything. And at the time, the NBA didn't have examples of a little man leading his team into a championship. Even after Isiah Thomas ended up retiring and the bad boy Pistons fell off, big men continued to win championships afterwards.
So when we won in the NBA, that's when the position really changed, and they allow small guys to come in and score. So I was the first point guard to lead his team back-to-back championships, scoring and assisting.
It really should have been back to back to back. For those of you that know the story, you know the story.
Keyword, assisting. Scoring,
I watched all that.
that ain't never been done. Still hasn't been done today.
Right.
Right. In terms of back-to-back.
It won't be done now.
Now, that's when the league starts saying, okay, well, smaller guys can score. You go back and you look in the NBA Finals, the last game that Vinnie Johnson makes the shot, Joe, Vinnie, and I are on the floor together.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about the evolution of the game, and this is what I always say about Detroit, we did more to change the game, but we get no credit for it. And y'all get credit to everyone else. But the facts are staring you right there in the face, right? You talk about a stretch big, Bill Laimbeer.
Center.
You know, shoot, I think he still have an NBA Finals record, six or seven threes.
Bill Laimbeer?
Yeah, you ain't know that?
I didn't know
You
had
got
a
that
finals
computer in
record.
front of you, man. Come on, man. Do your homework.
Yeah, IT going in. But Bill Laimbeer is almost like a Draymond Green archetype, except he could shoot much better. And this Knicks championship team, just like the Detroit Pistons, will not receive the credit on how they were built. The team's starting point is not from multiple lottery picks from just tanking on purpose. Leon Rose was able to assemble things together even after making a few mistakes. Yabusele, Evan Fournier. You gotta pivot right here. Let's get rid of Quickly. You know, he's a fan favorite, but let's make that sacrifice and get OG Anunoby. Okay, we made the move for Cam Reddish. It's not working out. Let's pivot right here. Josh Hart. This, in a way, is the first time us Knicks fans are seeing this organization had an identity for what kind of team they wanted. Then they found the players that fit it instead of going out and just grabbing names like they used to in the past, and then we'll figure it out later. And when you look at today's league, where it's difficult to build a championship team with second apron rules, you can't have too many star players on the team at the same time eating up so much salary. You got second apron rules. You got different luxury tax rules. Leon Rose deserves a lot of fucking credit. They should be praising him the same way they praise the analytical/Salone conference assholes like Daryl Morey.
Do your homework.
No, but he was shooting threes.
And he was shooting at a high clip.
High clip.
That's
What
crazy.
percentage?
Dude,
High 40s?
probably 40s. Bill Laimbeer had a clip.
Not all big shooting threes, E.
Yeah, everybody doing it
And
now.
not everybody doing it.
Everyone has copied the Detroit Pistons model style of play.
Yep, and we're gonna have to include Pat Riley taking that blueprint, the physicality, into the 90s Knicks.
Yeah, we all get to the point as players, right, where we want to win.
Yes.
Yes.
And we look at our teammates and we say, can't win with this one.
right. Exactly.
Either I gotta go or he gotta go. But I can't win with this one,
How
right?
fast do you realize that?
Quickly.
And I'm gonna tell you something too, Zeke. Watching you and watching the Bad Boys, watching how y'all evolve,
Mhm.
I learned a lot about even the last guy on the bench. Because when we started becoming good, sometimes people think that last guy on the bench don't matter.
Ooh, he the most important one.
Yes.
And we started bringing some guys with questionable,
Characters. And that rubs off.
You gotta go.
yeah.
You're not playing, but you're not.
You understand that though.
Yeah.
But a lot of GMs don't understand that.
Well, because a lot of GMs ain't never had their ankles taped.
Yeah.
They never died for a loose ball.
Yeah.
And don't understand that you win the game on the bus ride
Yeah.
and the plane ride.
Playing right, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see with this Knicks team, there was a certain culture, a certain camaraderie that they all had. Everyone was on the same vision. From the top guy on the team, Brunson, all the way to the 15th man on the bench. Everybody was locked in. It's a very unfortunate thing nowadays with these new tech oligarchs coming in, owning these teams. They're used to dealing with numbers people, just guys that are constantly looking at things on a spreadsheet. There's a high IQ but a low EQ, aka Daryl Morey, and that's why you see his teams not necessarily fit chemistry wise. But when you look back at this Knicks championship team, you can see there's a camaraderie. They're more locked in. There's a culture in place. Not every player, just because he has good statistical numbers, is going to fit within that culture. That right there has been one of the very noticeable things about Leon Rose and his reign with the Knicks.
That's where it all happens at.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so they don't understand that. So consequently, they can't think that way. And when they bring a guy into a locker room, they have no idea who this guy is, what he stands for, what he does, so forth and so on. And quickly, when that guy walks into a locker room, everybody's like, whoa.
Yep.
This and see, in our era, we grew up, unlike y'all, the bad guy couldn't be on the team.
Right.
You would see a guy out in the park playing, and you'd be like, man, why he ain't playing? Why?
Right.
Bad character.
Bad. You got bad attitude.
Now you got the coach.
You can't get along with
You got
nobody.
the coach enabling the player nowadays.
Yes. So they take that guy now and they bring him to the locker room. They say, well, he can average 18 points and get us 10 rebounds. And everybody in the locker room is saying,
This guy not passing.
my man.
Luka.
Notice right there, someone screamed out Luka. Again, that's the beautiful thing about Brunson. He can adapt to a lot of different play styles. The fact that he could be off ball, catch and shoot, it's really nowadays the kind of stars that you get, especially if you want to win on a championship level. If you just want to be a middle tier conference team and just get to the second round and then you're out, that's fine. But we're talking about championship level. There's a certain way to build a team that a lot of today's analytical / let's tank the team for a number of years in order to get good draft picks. That culture kind of goes against all that. That thought process doesn't automatically change. And we can see the results. A lot of those analytical tanking teams, once they start to get kind of good, they quickly bail out. They don't know how to pivot and select certain players, maintain a certain culture. It's just a lot that we've seen from Leon Rose and the tone that he has set with this Knicks organization. It should be ranked in a very similar level to guys like Bob Myers out in Golden State, or even the way the San Antonio Spurs set their culture. Who knows, as more time goes on, if Leon Rose is able to maintain it, this is where we're going to have to begin to move his name towards. It is what it is. As we've seen historically, not all innovative NBA championship teams get the credit that they deserve. So former New York Knicks Channing Frye has sat down and gave some very interesting stories about Coach Larry Brown, especially in that first season without Allen Houston. The team went 23-59, and after one season, Larry Brown was out of there. Low-key, this team had a lot of good talent on it. Nate Robinson, Q Richardson, Steve Francis, Eddie Curry, David Lee, Matt Barnes, and Stephon Marbury. The Knicks for a second did believe they made the right move because Larry Brown just a year prior was coming off of winning a championship, defeating Kobe Bryant and Shaq. But the situation grew so bad that even after Larry Brown left the team, James Dolan actually refused to pay him the rest of his money. They had to come to a settlement. And you know shit is bad when James Dolan is not willing to pay you. I mean, even the current commissioner at the time, David Stern, had to step in order for that settlement to happen. But Larry Brown in that 05-06 season kind of fell into a tier of coaches that was transitioning culturally away from the league. Star players were actually gaining more power within the organizations, and that's where we start to see more of the clashes within that generation. The Jerry Salones, the George Karl, They reached a tipping point for the way stars were being catered to. And Channing Frye had a lot of interesting stories about that level of control that those coaches were used to. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
The relationship people had with Isiah was great because Isiah was like, here's what I want for you, and I know that you want this for yourself. The problem was Larry Brown. We had Larry Brown. We had the most starting lineups. Look that up. Larry, at some point during the season, was getting guys from the G League weekly. So we didn't know who was our teammates. Dude, I promise to God, we didn't know who was starting the basketball game until 40 minutes when he would write it on the board. Then he came up with something. And remember, I played 14 years. I have never, and probably will never see this again. He would say, if you're from this city, you can start. Or if you went to college here. So we'd get a dude off the airplane, Ime Udoka, ask him. He was on our team.
Ime played 8 games.
Yeah. But Ime came off. He was like, dude, you're great, son. Here, go start. You're like, start? Man, then there was a story, and I'll tell you this story quick. Him and Stephon, boom, came to a clash.
Now right here is that same exact clash I was describing. It's the same clash Melo had with George Karl, De'Aaron Williams had with Jerry Salone out in Utah, and of course, Larry Brown had it before with Allen Iverson down in Philly. But the NBA at the time was at an inflection point where the head coaches that were once the lieutenant of these teams. And by the time Allen Iverson had his rise in Philly, that's where that same inflection point began to intersect. And the players started having more power than the head coaches within these organizations. What actually added more fuel to it was when LeBron got drafted. If you look at most rookies going forward, they instantly got the keys to these franchises once they were drafted. Kobe Bryant coming into the league just a few years earlier than LeBron. He had to kind of bend the knee to the coach and come off the bench. It's crazy how in that very short time span, the league shifted so much. I believe it was only 6-year difference. But that very same shift is what Larry Brown was trying to get accustomed to, and coaches like him were fighting it.
The first month, if you look at Steph's, I'll never forget it. I was like, yo, Stephon Marbury is the real deal. Because I think the first month of the season, he was averaging like 25, 6, and 4. It was something crazy, right? You can look that up, stat guy. So all of a sudden, something happened where Larry was like, you're not doing anything right. Steph was like, whoa, what? Like, I'm out here hooping. Like, we're good. And he goes, nah, I'm going to make Jamal Crawford a point guard, like a guard. And Jamal's like, what? I'm a scoring guard. Like, I'm not a point guard. So all of a sudden in practice, he's like, you're doing that wrong. You're doing this wrong. And it came to a head for Steph in a film session, which we had to call the NBA on him twice because we had 3-hour film sessions before a 3.5-hour practice.
Damn, did I hear that right? The players had to call the NBA on their coach? What the fuck?
Didn't run up and down twice. Now, that is no ask David Lee, ask anybody from that team. That was crazy.
Whoa. Let's hear that one more time because it doesn't even sound right when you first hear it. A 3-hour practice with no movement?
Which we had to call the NBA on him twice because we had 3-hour film sessions before a 3.5-hour practice where we didn't run up and down twice. Now, that is no ask David Lee, ask anybody from that team. That was crazy. We'd stand there and he would redo plays from other teams and just call our plays what their plays were. Say, we need to do that. Like, didn't we just learn a different play yesterday? But we were going over the jump ball and Steph was like, yo, man, we're 10 games into the season. We know how to do a jump ball. And I remember Larry Brown goes, hey, if you've been past the first round, raise your hand in front of everyone. And after that, Steph and Larry, it was a wrap after that. Malik Rose was like, Channing, this is not what the NBA is like. This is a circus. You were like, you're supposed to know your role, your starter, your sitting, how many minutes you're playing. If you do well, you understand. And it was a lot.
It's very unfortunate because this is one of the learning lessons James Dolan had with just hiring names. One of the many. because the same issue ended up playing out with Phil Jackson. The management not fitting in with the player personnel. That continuously became a clash during his era. The Knicks, once again, they were at a transition point in that very same season when Allen Houston prematurely had to retire. Now the team was still able to grab the headlines by hiring a coach that in just 2 seasons before won the NBA title against a dominant duo like Shaq and Kobe. It's the same way the Knicks were struggling at a point during Melo's reign where Dolan grabbed the headlines by hiring Phil Jackson as team president. That's the beautiful thing about the Leon Rose hire. It's almost like he sequenced everyone to be on the same page, from the front office to the coaching staff to the player personnel. It was one culture and everyone being on the same page. Carmelo Anthony kind of alluded to the Knicks being out of sync in different levels within the organization when Mike D'Antoni left the team and Mike Woodson took over.
It was a lot with all those personalities.
So the audience can play along here. Marbury, Jamal Crawford, Jalen Rose, Stevie Francis, Quentin Richardson, Eddie Curry, Nate Robinson, Antonio Davis, who's one of my all-time favorite dudes.
He was the best.
He must have hated that year,
What?
knowing him.
No, he would leave. He would just be like, yo, coach, I'm going to go see my family in Indiana. I'll be back tomorrow. And coach is like, huh? He goes, yep, see you tomorrow. And would dip. And because he's such an OG, hey,
Yeah.
do you remember he went into the stands? He was talking to me. He was talking to me. He was like, Channing, he goes, hey, hold on, young blood. Boop, 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 boop. Went up there and started pointing. I said, oh boy, that's it for this season. Oh boy.
Quintel Woods, Trevor Reza, who was like good. Yeah. You were kind of like, hey, wait a minute. They might have something here. Mo Taylor. Penny played 4 games that year. David Lee, Matt Barnes, who is another one of my favorite go-tos.
It goes to show you, Isiah Thomas, in a way, he has an eye for good talent, is that they couldn't just piece everything together in a uniformed way.
Rose, Ime, Jackie Butler.
Jackie Butler, dude, was built like a tree stump. That dude was so country.
He played a lot, too.
A lot, because he could score the crap out of that ball. Jackie Butler, God, I wonder what he's doing. We're a circus. It was some personality.
I love that roster. I love that roster.
Some dogs, some good dudes, and like you were just like, if this would have actually worked out somehow, that team would have been a 30 for 30. We had the highest payroll in the NBA, and then we had 3 first-round picks. So you have like developing these guys, but playing these guys with a coach that's like, I want to get new players all the time. He's like, Trevor, I'm going to trade you. Matt Barnes, I'm going to trade you. Quintel Woods, I'm going to trade you. Give me Ime, give me Jackie, give me this. So you're like, who are you playing? Like, for what reason? There was no continuity of like what we were trying to accomplish. And then 2 years later, I ended up getting traded to Portland for Zach Randolph. So, I mean, it's just like, yeah, guys weren't bought in, but you can't have the highest payroll in the NBA in lottery picks. Especially if you're not specific of like what their role is.
And then you're in the midst of like a 23-win season. I think it's 6 coaches. I mean, if you count Herb Williams being an intern, so sometimes it's not fair when you're like, yeah, but it's Lenny, it's Don Chaney, it's Larry Brown, and then it's like, Larry, you got to get him out of here. And then Isiah was putting the roster together. It's like, now you go coach it because ownership's mad. And it was it's a lot.
From the looks of it, it seems like Larry Brown was not satisfied with the kind of chemistry the roster had that Isiah Thomas put together. Looking back at it now, it makes sense why Van Gundy said he wouldn't coach the Knicks unless he had full control of the roster. But yeah, those days sound like a mess for the Knicks. A lot of interesting characters on that team. I would say Stephon Marbury was one of the first players that fell victim to the player empowerment. It was almost like he was a few years a little bit too early on that, but definitely played a pivotal part in that movement. Again, the league was at that inflection point where the star players' powers actually was on the same level as the head coaches. And now today we see them both interact as peers. Look at the Mike Brown situation with the Knicks right now. Guys are more collaborative and the relationship is more on an equal playing field. Very interesting. Larry Brown is definitely a dying breed of just head coaches that was used to being the lieutenant, the Phil Jacksons, the George Karls, Jerry Salone. It shows you the greatness of a coach like Greg Popovich for him to make that shift, or just how much organizational power he really has to kind of command the respect of today's generation of players. So Jeremy Lin and Carmelo Anthony have finally given us the sit down we've all been waiting for, where they discuss some of that tension that was lingering around, especially in Melo's second season in New York. The Knicks were currently going through a lockout season where they lost the last 11 out of 13 games, and then Jeremy Lin came through and the team went 9-2. Keep in mind, the personnel of the team didn't quite make sense, especially with Carmelo Anthony's play style, as Mike D'Antoni does believe in moving the ball. So there was a clash between D'Antoni and Carmelo Anthony. One of the more interesting parts about this whole Linsanity run is that it really proved that Mike D'Antoni's system, or just play style, could fit with a lot of different kinds of players. The Knicks, right before Melo's arrival, was having a good free-flowing offense with Wilson Chandler, Gallinari, Raymond Felton, and Amari Stoudemire. So D'Antoni's style of offense kind of fit with where the league at the time was transitioning to. That's another interesting thing about when Melo arrived in New York. The play style that he was accustomed to was beginning to get phased out. The Mavericks stopped Kobe Bryant from three-peating and also defeating the Miami Heat. And if you look at every other team that has won since until today, it's really only been LeBron James that kind of has a similar play style to Melo, winning 2 championships with the Heat and 1 with Cleveland. The rest of the teams have a more community style offense where the ball's moving quick and a lot of guys are making the decisions with the ball in their hands. But hopping right back into the Melo and Jeremy Lin situation. After that 9-2 Linsanity run, once Melo made his return into the lineup against the Nets, the Knicks in the next 10 games went 2-8, causing Mike D'Antoni to resign afterwards. There clearly was a clash with the play style that was happening within the Knicks organization, and the whole energy level of the Linsanity situation was at an all-time high. It almost felt at the same level of when Melo made his debut at MSG. Make no mistake about it, it was something real that had to get addressed. Before we get to hear from these two sit down, take a listen to Melo address the sort of rumors that there might have been a little tension about the star power of the whole Linsanity situation.
If Carmelo Anthony is on the floor with Jeremy Lin, who's taking the last shot in that game? How does Carmelo Anthony answer a question like that?
Of course I want to take the last shot. I mean, let's be quite frank.
Man, of course Melo should be getting the last shot, but that's how crazy the Linsanity situation was, that Melo's even being asked this fucking question is crazy.
I've been doing it for 9 years already, so I've made a ton of them.
If people say that Carmelo Anthony is a selfish player, how do you respond to that?
That's like a slap in the face. Never been a selfish player. None of my teammates that I ever played with could say that I was a selfish player. Nobody.
How does it make you feel that people say that? That they're questioning that because of Jeremy Lin and whether or not you guys can coexist?
It's a tough situation. I mean, I'm human at the end of the day, so it's like, damn, where's that coming from? Like, I know I'm not a selfish player. The people around me know I'm not a selfish player. I do everything I can to try to make people, understand that I'm not a selfish player.
Can Linsanity continue?
I believe so.
What you've seen?
I believe so. What I've seen, I mean, right now he's playing out of his mind.
That's right.
Completely out of his mind. He's unbelievable right now. When I come back, I think I can take some of that pressure off of him to have to go out there and do it on a consistent basis. I think it makes it a little bit a lot more easier for Amari. Tyson could get back to doing what he's doing, and everybody just do what they do best.
How good?
Jeremy Lin was a blessing in disguise for us. I mean, he fell down. He fell down, and from upstairs, for us in a situation that we've been looking for a guy to take over that position. But it's going to take a lot of work, and I'm willing to do it. We all got to be willing to do it.
So once again, this is serving as a nice backdrop of how crazy the Linsanity energy was. The fact that subconsciously a lot of people kind of put Jeremy Lin on the same level as Melo in order to even ask a fucking question like that. Who would get the last shot? Of course it would be Melo. You would think Jeremy Lin averaged 30 points a game for a number of seasons, for that to even be a question to be asked. But the fellas finally got together and sat down and touched base on some of these dynamics. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Obviously, perception is reality in certain situations, so you kind of only know, and that's the thing about that whole stretch, was there was a lot that I was unsure about. And so the narratives come, but to be able to talk it out, I appreciate that. And so my biggest thing was, like, when I think back on my career, because I recently retired, my story I've never wanted my story to be me versus anybody else, which we had talked about. And I think at the end of all of this, if it's, if my name comes up or my story comes up and it's me versus you, or, or if we're ever at a point where someone has to choose sides, then I think we failed. I think the story has failed, and that's not what we want to do, and that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to be known for either. And so that was just kind of the biggest thing, and we were able to air it out.
Right, so I'm just glad, like you said, man, 14 years, you get to clear the air, you get to ask every question that you ever had about his experience here in New York to me directly, and I give you that time to answer it as transparently as possible. You gotta understand the way that it happened, the way that it transpired. I got hurt, and then he comes into play, right? We on the back to back or some shit like that, right? So now, shit is happening so fast. Nobody knows what's next. Dan Antonio don't know what to do next. He don't know who to go to next. Melo, who you want to go? You ain't got no choice. He done, I'm done. You ain't got no choice. Go do that. So now, when you deal with that part of it, but now I got to get healthy. No, I don't know what's about to happen. He probably believed what was about to happen, and internally, right?
Not to that level. I didn't.
Okay,
I felt like, hey, I can play. I can help. I knew that, but I didn't know.
Nobody thought that, believed that. If any fan or anybody tell you that, they're lying to you. But what we had to do was figure it out. I had to figure my shit. I was injured. I was hurt. I had to think about how fast I'm gonna come back, what I'm gonna do, how the fuck I'm gonna go help this team, how I gotta lead this team. I'm in a different position than he is.
Yeah.
So I gotta deal with a whole bunch of shit. Forget being jealous of what he's doing. I want him to, no, keep going. Game winner in DC, yo, keep going. Toronto, keep going. Now we get to the story of the Kobe situation, right? The run is happening with him. They about to play Kobe. We're about to play the Lakers. Kobe is, I'm laughing and joking with him about, yo, you coming in this, you gonna get your ass bust. You gonna listen, he like, about who the fuck is Jeremy Lin? Like, who the fuck is Jay Lin? He said that in the media.
Yeah.
So when he said that, it stemmed from the conversation we had just had the night before.
Okay.
Now, Melo right here, he's acknowledging that Kobe, when he said that to the media, he already knew who Jeremy Lin was. And for Jeremy Lin, throughout the rest of the league, he definitely had a bullseye on his back. Players made it a point of emphasis after a while to not get cooked by him.
And he was tired of me talking about him to him. So they asked him, he said, I don't know who the fuck is Jeremy Lin, right? That was the narrative. So I say, he brought that up, and I say that to say, it was always because nobody knew, but I was a part of it. Nah, this shit is old. You better watch out. It goes from joking about it, like, yo, that nigga coming to bust your ass, to like really standing on it and like, oh shit, this could be something.
Yeah.
So now when you realize this could be something, now the pressure's on me to get back right or continue getting right. I gotta get on the court to help this motherfucker, because if this is what we're doing, then I gotta do what I have to do in order to make this right. So that's where a lot of the probably disconnect come from, or the narrative came from, because at that point in time, I'm doing therapy, I'm doing rehab, I'm not around them like that. But I'm in the training room before the game. Okay. When he come in and yo, cut the TV off, what's this? Nah, fuck that, this is about you. So now it's almost you become a fan and a teammate at the same time. Now, was everything perfect? No, everything wasn't perfect. I can't sit there and say everything was perfect. He was going in one direction, I'm in a whole nother direction. Two men trying to figure this shit out from two different perspectives. But my hat is a lot wider than what his hat is at that point in time.
Now that Kobe conversation did get spun around the media as if Melo was hating on Jeremy Lin. But I definitely got to give Melo some breathing room because he still just got to New York and trying to establish himself while wearing that jersey. Because his name still rung bells, but when you thought of his highlights or just any kind of accomplishments, it was under the Nuggets banner. So he still was in his early stages of just trying to build his moments in a Knick jersey, while at the same time, all of a sudden, this guy just comes out of nowhere with this crazy energy. And now at the same time, subconsciously, people are putting us at the same level. It was kind of a weird thing because no one could tell if it was real or not. But the energy was just so crazy that people was just willing to go with it.
To me, there was no doubt. So my rookie year, I had a horrible year because I had imposter syndrome. Like I didn't come from a background where anybody ever said you can make the NBA, or that was never a reality. It was like, you're crazy. Like, you think you can make the NBA? So for me to actually be in that space, I was like, oh, I made it. Like, but my second year with the Knicks, that's when I was like, no, I'm having like almost 30-point triple doubles in the D League. Like every time I get in during garbage time, I'm making something happen. Like I truly believe I'm gonna contribute. I did not expect to contribute whatever my stats were during that stretch. I didn't expect I was gonna do that fast, but I knew in my soul, like, you're an NBA player. I think what was difficult was, as what Melo's referring to, is guys are dropping like flies because it's one of those lockout seasons, and then all of a sudden,
a horrible year.
And then I'm in the starting
Amari was
lineup.
out. Who else was out?
BD was struggling with some stuff. Baby was struggling with some stuff. Him, Stat, they were both out. And
was
so
Tony Douglas also, was he on that team?
Douglas
Also?
he was struggling, but by the time that like the first few games came around, and this is something we had talked about, but by the time that we were starting to figure it out and you were starting to come back healthy, you felt a pressure like, I got to get back healthy. I got to help the team. But we're also figuring out, like, realistically on paper, this is not, I don't think this is like debatable. It's like your style or what you need and my style and what I need, they are not on court the best, like the perfect match, right? Like I am a pick and roll player, ball heavy, ball dominant,
which is something that Mike D'Antoni favors. That's one of the reasons why Amari Stoudemire chose the Knicks in his free agency.
And you are maybe the best mid-post isolation scorer. Not just to say that's the only thing that you can do, but you are elite at that.
You see the differences right there? That's one of the things when you go back and see James Dolan talk about his learning lessons from running the Knicks, is situations like this, where you're quick to run and get the superstar, but meanwhile, you don't even have the personnel to match him. And that's always been an issue for the Knicks for most of James Dolan's reign.
And so these two styles are realistically not something that is going to naturally mesh. So you got to work on meshing at it. And so now we're kind of in this space and we don't really know how to move, and everyone's kind of trying to figure it out. So I'm trying to figure out, like, look, people are like, what are you thinking about? I'm like, let me tell you what I was thinking about. I'm thinking about the guaranteed date, because they can still cut me. Like after my first 2, 3, 4 games, like they could still cut me until the day. Like if I go down, if we play the Lakers and I go down with the season-ending injury, I'm getting waived.
And that shows you how crazy this whole Linsanity situation was. The fact that Stephen A. Smith earlier in the segment had asked Melo who's taking the last shot. We're talking about a guy who potentially could get waived. He's never even really gotten a fully guaranteed NBA contract. Shit is wild. Deep down inside, you had to know Melo felt a type of way.
I'm getting waived. Like, I'm not thinking all these other things that everybody's thinking about. It's like, I'm literally just trying to make it. And so that's where my mind is at. And he's a franchise player who has to think about the direction of the organization and getting all these pieces together. And, you know, something you said over the phone is like, hey, is Jeremy the missing piece? Like, so you're thinking about all these things holistically, and also the pressure on you to come back, get back and figure out how we're going to figure all of this out together. Because, you know, obviously Stat, TY, they got their own different styles as well. And so that's kind of like the complexity of the situation, right? Like a lot of moving parts, and all of a sudden I wouldn't even say our coaching staff was aligned either.
No.
Right? Like,
I was going to go there next.
yeah. So our coaching staff isn't aligned.
All right.
And
so this is D'Antoni. This
D'Antoni
is
and Woody.
His brother.
Woody.
D'Antoni's brother.
Yep.
Phil.
Phil's in the front office.
So there's a lot going on.
No, we had Coach Phil.
Yeah. No, Coach Phil. Not Phil Jackson wasn't there yet.
This was D'Antoni's crew.
Got you.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Melo, speak on it, man. You was not feeling that shit at all. That right there is the main catalyst of this whole situation. The fact that D'Antoni's system showed that you could plug in a player that's even on the fringes of being in the league, and the team will start to have a winning record. The Knicks, once again, were 9-2 during that Jeremy Lin stretch, and before then, they lost 11 out of 13. And afterwards, when Melo came back from the injury, they were 2-8.
The reality is, and correct me if I'm overspeaking, but
Never.
I do think you felt a pressure of like, I need to get back and prove and figure out like what I'm going to bring to the team because I'm hurt and they're moving in this direction. I'm feeling a pressure of like, okay, I'm rookie minimum. And at the end of the day, like, how do I help what it is that the big three have already started with this organization? And so, again, I was just so new to and so green, like we didn't always have the toughest conversations, and we didn't have the environment where we were really talking about things openly either on that team. And so a lot of it was guessing, but yeah, it wasn't easy. Like it wasn't easy and it wasn't perfect.
So that's from his perspective. Now, my add-on to that is leadership, right, comes into play, right? Outside of player leadership, whose leadership in the coaching staff and front office, who is really, forget the front office, because they shouldn't have nothing to do with what happens, what we do on the court.
All right, Melo about to make it be known. Let's look at Mike D'Antoni and his staff.
When you think about coaching, right? We didn't have nobody, and I love D'Antoni. Like, despite it's me and D'Antoni too. Like,
Hey, let's not ignore this. There was a rift in between the two. Let's not forget the beef. D'Antoni resigned right after Melo came back, and the team went 2-8.
It's me versus everybody. But even with D'Antoni, it's like he didn't know how to adjust to that either, because it was new to him.
Yeah.
And because he didn't understand him, he didn't know about, he was on the team, but it wasn't like D'Antoni had him in rotation or like, oh, we going to Jeremy Lin and we going to play. No, all of this shit is happening in quick time.
Yeah.
So as I'm coming back, I got to come back healthy to really figure this shit out, because I know at the end of the day, this ain't going to be on him.
Mm-hmm.
This shit is on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there is a tough part, because at the end of the day, if the Knicks lose, they were going to blame Melo. So D'Antoni still had to go with a style of play where Melo could still get his. It's tough because if the coach was attached to a lie detector test, he'd rather have gone with his play style. Jeremy Lin having the ball, doing pick and roll. The ball is moving from side to side. No one's holding on to it. They just rather have gone with that play style, because that's where you really saw the success that season.
So whatever happens, if it don't work out, they can say, oh, Jeremy Lin had a good run, Linsanity, boom, boom. That's what could have happened.
Yeah.
So the pressure on me to come back, lead this team, and figure out, oh, if he's going to be the guy, which I told him that we had this was front office.
Right.
Listen, if this is who's going to be the guy, we got to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out, but you have to tell me if this is going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because he playing one way, and then you got the coaching wanting to play a whole nother way, because they're still skeptical about what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
So they telling me, Melo, all right, cool, like we going to hurry up and get back. We don't know how long this gonna. So the pressure on me to get back, I had to really come back sharp. So in between that, there's success, right? There's excitement, there's winning, right? We found something out of nothing in the sense. We was down and out. They was wearing the bags over their heads at our games.
Yeah, it was fucking bad, man. Once again, the Knicks lost 11 out of their last 13 games. And as Melo described, there was a lot of different directions. Everyone was trying to figure out where they're going. D'Antoni had his own style alongside Jeremy Lin, but he wasn't sure if it was sustainable because Lin has never even been on a guaranteed contract before. This sounds like a complete shit show, but wow. Only in New York, lightning could come out of a bottle like that.
I remember vividly.
Right?
Yeah.
So now we get this golden nugget coming in here and revitalize just the energy that we all needed. And I think Amari needed it. I think Tyson needed it. I think D'Antoni needed it. I think Dolan needed it. Right? It was just an energy that was needed at that point in time.
You could have been a great player that, comes out of nowhere in any other city. But the fact that you did it here multiplied everything and all those narratives that sort of probably made it uncomfortable for y'all to talk, especially you, is exacerbated at that point, right? You're the biggest star in sports out of nowhere, and you're still on Landry Field's couch or Steve Novak's couch? Where was that?
Yeah, it was Landry's couch.
It was Landry's couch? Right.
Small couch, literally this size right here. Got my feet hanging off.
It's nuts. So, I just love to know, with y'all two, on the outside looking in, when you break it down on a basketball term, yeah, it probably makes sense just style-wise, why wouldn't it mesh? But us being fans, us being people watching it, and especially it being in New York, your ascension and then hoping Melo gets back just gave everybody hope. I remember leading up to that Miami game where everyone just kind of the Knicks might actually have something here.
Yeah, so, I'm going to cut you off real quick on that.
Please.
Real quick. Because he mentioned style-wise.
Yes.
Didn't work. Or had to figure it out.
Right.
The thing about with style-wise, when I was playing, it was a way. Me, Amari, Stat played a certain way. Right? We played the way. Now he come in, now it's a whole nother way.
Again, the way Jeremy Lin and Mike D'Antoni kind of structured things when Melo was out with the injury was the direction the league was already headed towards. That's probably one of the biggest parts of this whole saga right here. Just like right now, how the small ball era of the NBA is pretty much over. It's ending for sure. There was a moment of a transition happening the same time when Melo first arrived in New York. The play styles of Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, all those volume shooters out in the wings. The rules in the game started evolving into what Mike D'Antoni was doing with the Phoenix Suns and Steve Nash. It's obvious the league wanted to go in that direction, so they shifted the rules and just the overall structure to cater towards that. If you count up all the NBA champions ever since the Dallas Mavericks beat the Miami Heat, they all fit that kind of style.
Right, and I'm out the game. So what ends up happening is, as a fan, the media, you start to put the question out there, what style is, what style you gravitating toward at that moment, right? So now you putting these styles against each other and you making people pick a side of what style of play you want for the New York Knicks. So you have that style, and then you have my style of play, right? So now you gotta pick and choose because they put that wedge in there.
Yeah.
So the narrative becomes stronger. If I'm playing this way in the course of the game, he's playing this way in the course of the game, which we both could do.
And I think that's the thing is when we talked about this one conversation where me, Melo, Stat, and T.Y., Tyson Chandler, T.Y., we were all finally, four of us, healthy, and we met before a road game against the Bucks. And us four aligned on this is what we're going to try to do because not everybody, but we have different styles. You can play the run and gun, 7 seconds or less, pick and roll, or you can go more get the ball to Melo, let you cook, let you do your thing in the style that you have. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive. It's not to say that they can't coexist together. It takes extra work. And it takes extra reps for it to coexist together and for it to exist together well. And I think that's the part where we had to really figure that out.
Unfortunate for the Knicks, it was a shortened season also. That's when, like Melo said, they had to play those back-to-back-to-back games.
that's the part where we had to really figure that out. There is, it takes a lot of work and intentionality to get there. And so it's not to say that we weren't trying.
Yeah.
We were trying.
But we also didn't have the leadership to help us.
We didn't have the leadership.
Figure this shit out.
And also, I don't think that, and this is my perspective, I don't think us four were close enough
to figure it out.
Right.
And so to say that like all four of us showed up and we're on the same page, I don't think that's true.
No.
I think we all showed up with the intention of how can we try to get on the same page, because we were 8-15 in 10th place, and every game fans would come down, boo us, throw something at us, tell us we suck on their way out because we were down 20. That's the reality of what we were looking at. And so it was the intentionality to try to figure it out was there. But yeah, it's not easy, difficult. Man. It's not easy.
It's difficult. It's funny as shit now. Now we older now. You win it, you're not looking at it.
It's not funny back then.
What I'm about to say is funny because when you go from a meeting of 3, me, Amari, Tyson, right? That's primarily the leadership of that team, of this organization, right? Everything comes through us as far as ideas, defensively, offensively, how style, like what do we want to do? Like that's just natural conversation that you should be having with the coach and all of that, trying to figure this out. Then a snap of a finger, you got him a part of that meeting.
Right.
So now it's like, okay. Right? Like what's happening here? Like
in the meeting, before the meeting, I'm like, wait, y'all want me in this meeting?
My point exactly. So like, what are we doing?
1/50th of what you guys make.
So when I say the way that they introduced it, to me and Tyson and Amari wasn't nothing bad. It was just like, oh shit, okay, we got another face in here. We got another body, we got another mind in here.
Right.
Damn, that's awkward. That is very awkward. To put Jeremy Lin in that bucket just off of like a week or 2 week stretch, it does sort of sound like a failure on Mike D'Antoni's part, or just whoever organizationally was running things, to think that Lin could even be in that room discussing the direction of the team. That's God damn, this shit sounds like a complete shit show, to be honest with you.
Which nobody was used to. It was just like, yo, we doing the meeting, Jeremy. Come on, Jalen. It's like, oh shit. That's why he felt that way of, you want me in there?
Yeah.
Because now he becomes a priority in strategy and figuring this shit out.
Yeah.
And somebody who's on a 10-day, a non-guaranteed contract, that's a lot of pressure. So I try to blanket that from him. Leave him alone. Fuck that. No, he ain't doing that. Jeremy ain't gonna get the KFC deal.
Right.
Like, why you turning the Mercedes deal, the BMW? Right. Like, fuck that. Go get $100 million.
Yeah.
So that's for another day. We can move on now.
And that's what I'm saying is so complicated, is because ownership is unsure, front office is kind of split, coaching staff is split, and players are split, because we're trying to figure out what direction is this ship going in. And looking back, it's like, actually, what it is, the same point that I've been saying is, we could have coexisted if we had the time and the intentionality to figure it out. And that's where we were trying to get to. But the reality was, even on the player side, things were kind of split, right? Like, it was like, some players are very suitable to complement Melo and what you're great at. Some players, some of the younger role players, we had a thing going and we had it figured out. And so now everybody's kind of like unsure. And to me, and I had said this to him, I was like, you got to think from my perspective, everything kind of came and went so fast. And now I'm not on the Knicks anymore. And after that, I hear publicly a coach saying something, and 3 teammates saying stuff publicly about like, oh, Linsanity didn't vibe with everybody in the locker room, and Linsanity this, and there was jealousy, or it just couldn't work. We couldn't figure it out with that group.
Just taking a step back, this is all a domino effect of the Melo trade, because shit was already unorganized since he arrived on the team. They got rid of a lot of key pieces of guys who were on the team. And then they were sort of in a rebuilding mode. James Dolan, in a way, being so pressed to trade for Melo, there was too much of a we'll figure it out later. And by the time Jeremy Lin in the second season for Melo had arrived, you add on top of that, it's a lockout season. Things are more crunched and more shortened. It begins to become a domino effect of like, okay, we'll put it off till later. Oh, let's figure it out now. And then Jeremy Lin pops up and Mike D'Antoni's trying to see even if the initial move of James Dolan trading for Melo fit him. It's like a cascading of a lot of fuckery, man. Wow, this is a lot. I didn't realize it was this bad.
And so I'm like, you gotta think, Melo, like I'm hearing this and I'm trying to piece together the story. And then the ridiculous contract part, which we talked out, which I'm glad we talked out, but I'm like, okay, so now he's bagging my contract, and I'm like, bro, and I told him over the phone.
For everybody that was born in the 20 teens, what was that? What was that quote?
So the quote was, Melo said that my contract was ridiculous because I had signed 3 years, $25 million with the Rockets that the Knicks had an opportunity to match, and the structure of the contract, which Melo, you could speak on that on yourself, for yourself, what you had shared to me over the phone, but I'm piecing together all these stories. And so I'm like, why would my teammates come out and say, like, it wasn't cool with everybody in the locker room?
Right.
And I honestly think, like, looking back, I think it's just so confusing, right? Like, it's so confusing. But at the same time, I'm also like, I don't know if anybody really knew what the other person was totally thinking.
Right.
And the reason is because when I came onto the scene, Stat and Melo were hurt. Then Stat comes back, and then a little bit later, Melo comes back, and then I get hurt. And so it's like there's the continuity isn't there, and so the conversations are also not there, and the reps and the experience of winning games, losing games, and figuring it out wasn't there too. And so now, like, now I'm just like, I don't really know what to think, and I was like, the easiest way is to just talk it out together.
Yeah.
And so
Jeremy, let's not bullshit, man. You getting a $15 million player option was ridiculous. The max players like Carmelo Anthony throughout the NBA were only making $20 million. So you went from just hoping that you got a guaranteed contract to making $5 million short of what a max player is making. Get the fuck out of here. You are not a victim, man.
We were able to do that, and at the end of the day, when I think back on it, I don't like try to figure out every last detail of it because I think you can go down that rabbit hole. But I think the intentionality around our conversation of we want to try to figure out how to coexist together. We want to try to essentially we're like, it's New York City, man. Like, we're trying to get the Knicks as far as we can go because if we don't get that, it's all of our heads.
Yeah.
And especially like the players at the top and getting paid the most, but it's all of our heads in New York. If you're not doing what you're getting paid
Knicks
to do.
fans care about everybody with that jersey on, bro.
Yeah,
From the first guy to the 15th down the bench.
Absolutely.
So ridiculous came from.
Okay.
So, and I've never said this publicly.
All right.
Yeah.
Like, this was internally, right? But like to somebody who's about to make the decision, right? And I explained this to him. Ridiculous means, yes, Houston offered him a $25 million contract that New York could actually match. Right? That he deserved the match. Yes. That wasn't ridiculous.
Now, right there, I'm not sure if Melo means he deserved the match because of how much money the Knicks made off of him, or did he deserve the match to justify him hitting $15 million on your cap sheet as a player? So you're going to have to measure that impact on the court. And that's almost a max dollar value. And for that second part, I would say no, he does not deserve that because that 15 mil will hit your cap sheet. Now, but from an organizational standpoint, if the Knicks made $100 million off of him, he deserves that on the back end, as long as it doesn't affect the Knicks roster construction.
What was ridiculous was the jump at that point in time from 4-15 or 16 or something like that. So when you sitting across from the person about to write the check, and they like, if I do this, this is what this means, blah, 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 blah. Yo, that's ridiculous. Why would you take that jump like that?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Right.
Now shit internally leaks. All of a sudden, Melo says Jeremy Lin contract is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, what's ridiculous is if you go back and do the math and the numbers at that point in time, what it would have did for the New York salary cap. And maybe as a player, I shouldn't have been worried about that.
Right, right.
No, Melo, you should be worried about that. You can't give a player going from a fringe, hoping to get a guaranteed contract, to now all of a sudden he's making $5 million less than a max player. Knicks would have been crazy to give him that contract, and you can see the results. Jeremy Lin hasn't been effective ever since he left the Knicks.
Right? Maybe I should have just been worried about playing basketball and just going out there and continue to get better and try to win. But when you can't pick and choose when you're in that seat. You cannot pick and choose when you're in that seat. You can't pick and choose when you just I just want to play basketball and nah.
Yeah.
You are the business.
Yeah.
So I gotta know what the fuck going on too.
Yeah.
And if you respect me enough to sit me down and say, hey, what do you think about this right here? Nah. Cause if I sat down with you, that means you want to hear my opinion. Here's what I say. No, if you could cut that down, could you stretch that?
Right.
Would you stretch that?
To help the team overall.
To help him stay.
Yeah.
Would you stretch the 15 at the jump? Would you stretch that? Could you stretch that over the 2 years?
And I think the concept of money, this is why the business of basketball is so complicated. It's like, from different vantage points, what does this contract or this money mean? From my vantage point, I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm seeing stats like I drove in $100 million in revenue.
Yeah,
I got paid $400,000, and then I got dropped, and I never got an offer in free agency.
Now that right there is very telling. As we all know, China's team is the Houston Rockets, so there is a financial benefit of them getting Jeremy Lin. But going back to his statement, he made the Knicks over $100 million. That's why his contract situation was complicated, because on the back end, the Knicks were eating good off of him. They were getting international contracts to broadcast the games. Matter of fact, the whole league was eating good off him. But at the end of the day, talent-wise, the rest of the league saw something that the fans really didn't. There wasn't that much game footage on Jeremy Lin prior, and also they viewed him hitting their cap sheet, especially at a high number, from a negative perspective.
And I never got an offer in free agency. And I'm like, so for me to try to, and that was, which we can get to in a little bit, but it's like my exit from the New York Knicks crushed me.
Yeah.
Like I was messed up because not just because I wasn't going back to New York, but because of how it happened. But from my side, I'm thinking like, there's no other player in the NBA that made that much money.
This motherfucker got me out of here. This fucking guy. I'm sick of this motherfucker. That's what started to happen. He started adding all that shit up. Everything they was saying, he's figuring out his exit.
Right.
And then it comes down to ridiculous.
So I'm thinking from the money side, I'm like, dang, like I'm not somebody who chases the money. I've never been somebody who just chases the money, but money is also a sign of respect. But at the end of the day, money is also a real thing when it comes to your position on the team.
Of course.
When it comes to how big your contract is, how quickly you're able to be moved, and all of that,
shots up.
as well as for me, I'm like, I'm not looking at myself. And this is where I'm trying to go with the ownership. They're thinking about it, and the business of basketball is what is the revenue, not just on court, not basketball side, as well as the off court, right? So they're thinking about that angle of money, and that thing, and then Melo's thinking about, all right, hold on. So we got this much. Now we're in this level of salary cap. If he takes that jump, what are the pieces that you can actually afford to put around me to get the organization where I feel like it needs to go, or to get the type of players and the level of players that I need. So that's why the money side, when it comes in, is incredibly complicated. But again,
from the outside,
it was complex. Like my
complex.
brain hurts talking about it right now. I'm a loyal guy, so I'm not somebody who everybody believed in, or I never had options. Like There was one person who believed in me, and he coached me for like 6 years. And then there was one more person who believed in me, and that was my high school coach. Like there was always like one school, one coach that like actually thought I could do something. So I'm extremely loyal because I come from a place of like, yo, when somebody believes in you or gives you an opportunity, you gotta be loyal. And I think that's what crushed me about the ending of the Knicks is like, I would have done anything to stay. And when, you know, and how it ended up happening and how we got there, it's great that we were able to talk it out. And there's a lot of other moving parties as well, right? Like, and Melo said, and credit to you and to me, like one thing I am really proud of is despite us not having this conversation earlier, neither of us have ever gone back and talked about it because I don't think it does. It's not a service to talk about it publicly without first talking it out privately. So I've actually never spoken publicly about my exit from New York until today. And the only reason why is because now we have had that conversation. And so for me, it's like, I'm sitting there like, I got to go back to New York. We got to find any which way. And New York, they could have offered me 3 years, $9 million, but I didn't even get that. And so I'm like, shoot, like y'all just made hundreds of millions and I'm just trying to stay.
Right.
And then they're like, all right, but you got to go out and get an offer. So I go to Houston. Houston gives me this offer. And I'm like, I swear to you, I get on the phone with my agent and I'm like, I don't want to take it. He's like, you don't have a choice. He's like, there's no other offer from the other 29 teams. You don't have a choice. Do you want to be in the NBA or not? I'm like, yeah, obviously, but can you tell Houston to lower the money so that
the
I
Knicks can match it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, tell them to lower the money.
Wow.
Or tell the Knicks. I was like, tell the Knicks I'll go back and play for the qualifying offer. I'll take a 3 years, 9 or whatever. And my agent's like, that's not happening. They're not offering that. And I was like, damn. And obviously this is like a previous, right? This is a different regime, and this is a lot of changes. We're 14 years out, and so a lot of different changes in staff and personnel and whatever. It doesn't really even matter because at the end of the day, there's stuff where we're not trying to incriminate certain people or anything. It's like we're not trying to create more tension or choose more sides.
Now, from the outside looking in, after Mike D'Antoni resigned, it pretty much was over for Jeremy Lin because Mike Woodson, who took over, he doubled down on Melo's play style. Going forward, we were not going to see that same version of Jeremy Lin, even if he stayed with the team.
This is the good vibes conversation, right?
Listen, the business of basketball.
I was about to say.
Sports, I knew you was about to ask that. It gets tricky. Because when you start playing, and now I can see it now, being on this side of the game and moving around the way that I move around. The way that they operate, the way that they think. Houston knew that New York wasn't gonna match that jump. Without me saying that's crazy. They just knew that. This is why they offered them 25, knowing that Dolan or the Knicks was only going to offer him a certain amount. So they jumped out there and said, hey, we're going to offer that. And if they do this, they really want you.
Right.
Let's see if they really want, because we want you. But if they do this, then they really, 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 really want you. And the front office and the business of it is like, is this what we want? Is this number what we want? From a business standpoint.
And then there is the narrative, right? Like, And I told this story to Melo. I was like, Melo, I'm in Houston. They're pitching me. The Rockets are pitching me. My agent, I'm on the 17th floor of the hotel. In my hotel room. My agent, Roger Montgomery, is talking to Daryl Morey. We don't know. We don't know anything. We haven't heard a contract offer or anything. They're just taking us out to eat steak and whatever. And then we get back. I'm like, bro, I don't need the steak. I just need, what are we doing here? Like, what's happening? And then I turn on the TV just to kind of clear my mind. My agent is meeting with Daryl Morey, and they're trying to figure out, all right, what is the actual offer? And I see on national television an analyst saying, this is the contract offer, and Jeremy is extremely unhappy with it because he wants more.
Oh, wow.
So I call my agent 5 times in a row. And he's like, not picking up because he's talking to Daryl Morey. And then finally he sees it. He calls me back. He's like, why are you calling me? I'm in the middle of the meeting. I'm like, hey man, this just got reported. Is this true? He's like, stop calling me. No, that's not true. I haven't got the contract yet. I didn't get the contract yet.
Right.
And so I think that whole thing was just, it took a life of its own. But to say the least, like, I was crushed, man. I was crushed when I didn't go back, and I would have taken less to answer your initial question, to be able to do it in New York City. And I don't think my heart really ever left New York, even though I went to a lot of different teams. And not to say that your love can grow in different places, but there's always going to be a special place in my heart for, like, it happened here, you know, in New York. I mean, but even me coming in the NBA, I signed a partially guaranteed contract with the Warriors, and the first thing that comes out is he's just here for jersey sales.
Wow.
And so now I'm caught, like, you know, like, that's the thing. That's what's unique about my story, is nobody's really seen somebody like me come along.
Yeah.
So nobody knew how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And because of that, now everybody's trying to figure it out. And so I was caught in that early on as a rookie. And so you had the owner who really wanted me. You had other people that didn't believe in me. Then we had this whole thing, is you drive here for ticket sales or here to play ball. And now you got all of that. I get cut twice, you know, and then I show up in New York and
they're thinking the same thing.
And
can we get jersey sales? Right, we talking about real, we sparking real shit right now, right?
So everyone has a different angle,
Absolutely.
right? Because D'Antoni, I do believe D'Antoni wanted me there on the team, because during my workout, I crushed my Knicks workout.
Okay.
I crushed it. And D'Antoni called me into his office and was like, that might have been the best workout I've ever seen. Like, who are you? You know, and so me and D'Antoni have this conversation, and he's like, look, man, we got these picks. Like, basically what he was saying was, I really like you and I'm going to try to convince them to, but I can't guarantee it.
Gotcha.
Now that I look back and I'm piecing together his words, this was before I ever came into the NBA.
Gotcha.
That's why he left.
It wasn't until year 2 until I actually got a chance to join the team. So D'Antoni was coming from the angle of basketball, but maybe other people weren't.
Right.
Once again, D'Antoni's pretty underrated when it comes to using certain kind of players in his system. We never seen him look quite the same. Look at Steve Nash. He was a 2-time MVP under that D'Antoni system. Didn't look the same before it or even after. Raymond Felton, that first season in New York, the Knicks were humming. They were playing a fun version of basketball that was entertaining, and they were winning games. So there is definitely a method to D'Antoni's madness when it comes to his offense, and he knows what kind of player archetypes fit within it.
Right.
And then when it came time to, do I stay, do I not, poison pill, big jump, now everybody has a different lens into, you know, is it worth it, or why is it worth it?
Wow. Something just popped up.
What just popped up?
No, but I never heard this before.
Okay.
Like, I'm saying from his experience when it comes to that. And I wonder now, is that why D'Antoni left?
Melo's getting into something. D'Antoni already saw the writing on the wall. Your play style and just the politics of having a star like you on the team, especially with James Dolan going out of his way to get you, it did not fit with his coaching style. And that lockout season proved it. Once again, the Knicks lost 11 of 13 games the week before Linsanity, then went 9-2 with Jeremy Lin, and then went 2-8 with Melo making his return. And D'Antoni saw the writing on the wall. That's why he resigned right away.
Left New York.
Because he felt the pressure from a business side of just dealing with the politics of the game as opposed to just dealing with the pure
Just
basketball.
playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he just got up and bounced. And nobody never knew why.
That is
But now
true.
that he's saying this, right, that shit just made me think like, damn, is that why? Because he believed in him so much. And from a basketball purity standpoint, but then also he had to fight for him to be on the roster, even with these picks, even with these roster spots. I'm gonna help you out. So if it don't go that way, but I also get the other side of it too. That's what he's saying. I get the other side of the politics, the business, the bullshit that I may not be for. So if it get too much pressure on me, I'm bowing out.
Yeah.
And we losing, I'm out of here. right? I've never thought about that.
Man,
I'm
we gotta
not
get
saying
that
that's
talk
right, but
about
that
it.
shit just hit me.
Yeah, and I
Pringles,
definitely don't want to speak on his behalf.
No,
you know,
never that.
But it's just the point of all of it is so complex,
It's
bro.
complex, man.
It's complex.
You
So
know
you're
what?
It's definitely complex, but it starts with James Dolan. I'm gonna have to point the finger at him right here, even though he's done a beautiful job now with Leon Rose and getting the fuck out the way. But him rushing to just give away so many assets to get Melo, that initial arrival to New York was already complicated. When you look at the coach that they had, plus the roster, there was a lot of holes that needed to be filled. And even though the Knicks amnestied Chauncey Billups, they got Tyson Chandler and put more pieces around Melo, the style, the coaching, the organization being all on one accord, it still didn't fit. Jeremy Lin coming through for that 2-week span or whatever it was lightning in a bottle. But as soon as Melo made his return, it was a snap back to the reality that the Knicks were always in.
It's men's
so you're
mental
trying
health
to
month,
distill
man.
a simple you're trying to get a simple answer to a complex, really, really complex situation. And I think it's not as cut and dry or black and white as everybody wants it to be. So it's not like, Jeremy didn't fit Melo's playing style and vice versa, or there was jealousy of Linsanity, or Jeremy wanted the most money so he left. I think there are elements of all of that in the whole story of Melo is realistically trying to figure out, I came to New York and I got the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I got to be prime peak Melo. So what does that look like? I'm also thinking like, I'm trying to find my way. I'm trying to, figure it out. And I want to be also respected and deserve to be respected as a basketball player, which is reflected in your contract. But at the same time, I'm also not chasing the money too, right? Like, so there's elements of all of that within all of the story, but to be able to say that it's all these things all at once, is to say it's that simple where it's just this one thing and that's it, is just an overgeneralization. I don't think life ever works that hardly ever works that black and white. And jealousy, like the whole topic is like, is jealous. It's like what we talked about on the phone. And Melo was like, the reality is when you're hooping and we got a streak going and we're playing a certain style, like, yeah, there's pressure on me to figure out, like, do I feel like, man, like I need to kind of come back and also, of course, be healthy, do your thing, help the team win. But also I need to figure out where I fit into this piece of the puzzle. Then I get hurt and they're playing a certain way. And of course, I'm going to think the same thing of like, okay, I got to get healthy. Where do I fit in this puzzle, and how big of a piece am I, and all of that? There is all of that. That's a real human thing. Like anybody who tells you they're not struggling with it or dealing with it is lying to your face. We are all like, we all got egos, we all got ambition, but my point is I don't think that ever overtook our goal to figure it out together and to win, because we are professional basketball players playing for the same team and our job is to win. And I think there was a commitment to that, but just
as we like piecing this back together, as your teammate now, was it something that you would have loved to see differently from me as your teammate at that in those moments?
I mean, and we talked about this over the phone. Towards the end of the conversation, I was like, man, Mel, I just gotta bring up one thing. To me, I was like, I said, when I was trying to come back for the playoffs against the Miami Heat, like I wasn't ready to play physically. Like I could have been on the court and been I don't think I wasn't gonna help the team. Like I was really dealing with a serious surgery, like a serious thing where it's like I didn't have my step, I didn't have my explosiveness. And I was like, I'm gonna try to play anyways. So I'm like, I'm getting ready. I'm like, I'm gonna try to figure it out. I gotta just get out there. And like Melo and a couple other OGs were like, kind of like, we pulled me to the side and we had a talk, and they were like, yo, like this isn't the move. And they were trying to protect me. And I think it's something that I personally was like, it wasn't just you it was you and a couple others, and I was like, I'm grateful that y'all are giving me your veteran advice and wisdom, And then, you know, obviously with the wording of everything, I get crushed in the media. And I was like, Melo, I wish that you were one of the OGs, one of the vets, just at least came out and like backed me up a little bit, because I was hell bent on trying to play that series. Like I really wanted to. And y'all could see like it's not like the body is not
possible.
And that's not actually gonna help you or the team.
Right. It's gonna hinder the whole process.
And so that's probably like that's the thing. I was like, man, I wish somebody just came out and helped me in that regard. But you know, that came and went, and that's fine. But that's the one thing I had said to him. And obviously the other regret that I kind of have is like, man, I wish we had the conversation earlier. You know, I wish we had the conversation a lot earlier. Because it's hilarious. I've never told you this, but obviously I leave the Knicks and we never talked it out. And so there's this like elephant in the room. So every time we play against each other, I'm like, I'll say what's up to you if you say what's up to me. And you're probably like, I'll say what's up to you. And so we never say what's up to each other.
I'm gonna shoot Melo some bail here because he just arrived in New York. That was only his second season. The team was still in flux about, you know, what direction there was gonna go towards. Mike D'Antoni was the coach that really didn't fit Melo's play style. And all of a sudden, during a lockout season, you get Jeremy Lin and Linsanity.
And then we're just playing against each other. And then there was one game where, you know, you always try to swipe the ball or block the ball early. Like they're about to get into it, and before they even get into their peak jump, you hit my head so hard, man. You gave me an uppercut to the, and I was like, for real?
Oh, that was personal?
He did it on purpose.
I was like,
there's a little extra in that one.
Dang, I think I had the mohawk at the time. My whole mohawk was shaking back and forth. I'm like a bobblehead. He hit me so hard, and I was like, okay, all right. So I was
what
like,
we doing?
Every time I play against, like every time he was in front of me. I'm going. And then I did something else that was hilarious. I don't know if you remember this. Literally, we didn't talk about this until today. And then you would be guarding the pick and roll. And at that time, you were kind of getting moved because the NBA was evolving. And so you were kind of going to that stretch four position. So you were defending on some of the pick and rolls. And I was like, every chance I get, he's guarding the pick and roll, I'm going to nutmeg him. I'm going to throw it through his legs. So, bro, I had there was one game where I had like 2 or 3.
Every time you saw
where I had 2 or 3. And it wasn't like, to me, it wasn't like, oh, like, I hate you. It was just like, I didn't know. Right? Like, I didn't know how you actually felt about me. And then I'm hearing and piecing all these things together. And I'm like, okay, he probably had a hand in, I don't know how big of a hand, but he probably had a hand in me not coming back to the Knicks. And then he also uppercutted me in the face.
He spanked the shit out of you in court.
And then like, we don't say what's up to each other. And we're like, and that was like my vet too, right? Like, you know, it's like, as a young player, I look up to him, Stat and T.Y. Like, y'all are my vets. Like, you guys are like legends to me. I have so much respect for you. And so I didn't know how to operate. I was like, I'm just not making you every time. Roller come down, throw it right through your legs, get 2 points. I'm like, yeah. And then meanwhile, you would be doing killing in the mid range, hitting shots, the ball coming, you muscle up, get an and one, and then the ball comes down, and you always headbutting the ball, you know, like, and so, and I'm just like, every time you score, I'll just be like, man, this dude right here, man. And then I would go ice. It was just hilarious, bro.
See, I don't be knowing that shit, man. I'm just so, again, man, when you're competitive, it's like, shit happens so fast in sports and in this league. And that's why, and this is a message to a lot of people out there, like honor those relationships or take the time out to understand what people's going through or dealing with on your team, right? Be it the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th guy. Everybody is dealing with something. So it wasn't that I didn't understand that. It was that I understood it, but damn, I got to continue. I'm on a streak. I can't lose in Houston. I don't want to lose in Houston. We got to win games. And he just so happened to be on the other side.
Yeah, once again, I'm going to shoot Melo some bail here because he just got to New York and they were already losing. Thank God the Knicks have moved away from the whole, let's just get a star no matter what, and then we'll figure it out later. Because for most of Melo's reign in New York, he was dealing with the repercussions of all that.
And again, I don't know that he's feeling this way. I'm just about to go play against Houston Rockets, who just so happen to have Jeremy Lin, who just came from. I understand the dynamics of what the picture that they painted. But I'm trying to win. I'm not thinking about
the NBA's not letting y'all two just on MSG Network. All right, if y'all playing each other, it's a national team. Everybody's watching.
I'm not thinking about I have to beat Jeremy Lin when I go play the Houston Rockets. Like, I gotta really dice. I still gotta move on.
Right.
So when the time comes up, hey Melo, you need to talk to Jeremy J. Lin. I'm like, what the fuck is why? Why? What I need to talk to him about? Is something happened? I'm still naive about what the fuck is going on. But anyway, that was just a competitive move. Something that I do. The swipe. I do the swipe. Yeah. And just so happened.
Just so happened you was there.
Yes, because I also know him. And I know his scouting report. And I also know when he goes to the whole what he's about to do.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm timing it.
Notice right there, Melo mentions his scouting report. That's something that the rest of the league didn't necessarily have on Jeremy Lin during the whole Linsanity craze.
And I guess he knew I was about to swipe.
I knew you were trying to, I had this kind of
right?
point,
So
like, he's going to try to get it early, so I'm moving the ball out the way, and it's bang, right in my head.
It set the tone, I guess.
Yeah, definitely set the tone.
It's all good. We in now.
I'm glad these two were able to patch up any tension that they had. And this is really a learning lesson for James Dolan on not to rush the process and to have all facets of the organization aligned, from the coaching staff to the general manager, team president. We're seeing this play out perfectly with Leon Rose, and that's why the Knicks were able to get to where they needed to go. Unfortunate for Melo, he started off the race in New York on bad footing. Not only his wingmate in Amari Stoudemire, his body was breaking down over time, but the coaching staff and player personnel did not fit with what exactly makes Carmelo Anthony great. And Jeremy Lin was a lightning in a bottle. It was sort of like a 2-week period where you took a vacation from all that madness, but it was short-lived. Hey, only in New York, right? So after not directly being able to participate in the Knicks' magical championship run, Charles Oakley quickly did a sit-down with TMZ to respond to some of Adam Silver's comments about his issues with James Dolan and how it's still unable to be resolved. And the situation is very unfortunate because Oakley is a fan favorite, but there's also other players' names slowly being dragged into it, like Patrick Ewing. But before we hear from Oakley, check out Adam Silver right here during a presser giving an update to the situation.
You opened by talking about how wonderful it is to see all these alumni here. You once tried to broker peace between James Dolan and Charles Oakley. Is it kind of a shame that he can't be part of this?
It is a shame in that Michael Jordan tried to, as you said, to broker peace, between Charles and Jim Dolan. And our efforts were unsuccessful. And so I think it's unfortunate for the NBA that this is an ongoing situation. But as you know, it's currently wrapped up in litigation, and I tried my best, so I don't really see anything else I can do at the moment.
Now, one thing I noticed is that every time Adam Silver is asked a tough question, he loves to throw in additional names. It's a nice little PR smokescreen that he does. But with this current day media landscape, entities fishing for clicks, it makes for a lot of interesting dynamics, as Charles Oakley not only quickly responds by going on TMZ, but he gives us a lot of insight to things we were not necessarily privy to. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Yeah, when the commissioner talking about with him and Michael Jordan, he throwing Michael Jordan on the bus of what he really doing. He's trying to have a conversation like they just talked yesterday. He making something. He coming back out with something from 2017 when we met with that guy from New York, Michael, and himself, and he trying to act like they try to solve a problem, and he went to the public in 2017, said we met and we came to an agreement that it's over with.
Yeah.
And now you look in the paper, he made another statement that about that, but you didn't solve the problem in 2017 because it's 9 years later, it's still going on.
Right. So, Charles, there was no new meeting between you, James Dolan, the commissioner of the NBA, Michael Jordan. Nothing like that has happened.
No, he lying again. It's 2 times in this case he done lied about. He lied about putting a statement out that what happened, and he lied now that he talking like they talked 2 days ago. No, he didn't. I haven't talked to James. I've been to court with James, and we tried to settle, and he said no. So this just been a whole thing. They blackballed me from the NBA in 2019 or 20 All-Star in Cleveland. They had 20-some events in Cleveland. And I called them. They didn't invite me to nothing. Kickball, basketball, volleyball, historic cocktail party, luncheon, legend dinner. The next year in Utah, they had my picture on the board. Then the next year after that, they went to Indiana. Michael Epps got access for the whole weekend. He ain't play basketball. So my thing is, you asked me to stay in New York 3 extra days when the incident happened. I stayed in New York, spent about $6,000, $7,000 just to meet with you. But you come to Cleveland, you can't give me a keychain, a ticket. It's embarrassing. And they keep doing this. He blackballed me in the John Morant case. John Morant didn't go through rehab. They keep lying to people because they got people out there that can put stories out. It's just bad. And for him to call Michael Jordan was bad from the get-go for the incident, and I said, why you ain't call all the owners? I mean, in life, you want things to be right, but he said some things just not right. In this type of situation, what this man did was, I mean, he should have been fined, suspended, or something. And this make all the other owners look like cowards too, because y'all know he's a bad guy, and y'all just want the money.
Now, one thing I'll say right away, because Oak mentioned John Morant's situation, he keeps dragging a lot of third parties into this whole fiasco, I should say. But the whole situation is really between him and James Dolan. No need to drag others into it and then question their character. We're going to see this is a reoccurring theme throughout this interview.
And I'm just saying, hey, every time I do an interview, I'm going to say it because it's wrong for him to do that. My ex-players I played with, they came and talked to me in arena. I went to Atlanta and Cleveland with Patrick, John, Allen, and Clyde. They came and speak to me. How you feel like, you played with somebody for 10 years, went to war, and you see him, been to my mother's house 25 times, and don't speak to me? I took that really personal.
So they didn't say it, Patrick and Allen?
Nothing. Patrick always been like that. He never stood up for nobody. Even when they offered him a D-League job, I said something. And the coldest thing out is I took a case for Patrick on an airplane. Put that out there. I took a case for him. As any teammate, Chris Childs, Allen, John, they might not have said nothing, but I took a case to better himself. And this happened to me, he don't say nothing.
Damn, once again, my man Oakley got to drag everybody into this shit.
I mean, over the last 9 years, I had some things go on, and this man shut it down. And I'm going to tell you, too, I was supposed to be on the Roommate podcast. I get a call the day before. They said, we got to cancel you.
They canceled. So Jalen and Josh canceled you?
Yeah, you can ask them. And 3 weeks later, guess who's on there? The owner.
Now, we're not sure how the dates or even how the cancellation lined up. But being on the midst of a championship season, I'm pretty sure Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, they don't want any other outside distractions. Especially with the odds of Oakley going viral on that show, I wouldn't want to test those waters.
I was shooting a commercial right across on the garden in Cafe 31-9 something else. We shot for one day. The next day, somebody said we had to shut down. We had permission and everything. So he bullied me around the city too. We went to court, and I'm gonna talk about it. I mean, it is what it is. We had 2 settlement meetings from the court and from the judge, and they came and played the bullet role as always and said no. And now, I got a sanction out on me, but we'll see what happens with that. But it's just, I love the fans, and they support me through thick and thin. And I was at the Cleveland game, Atlanta game, and, last night I did a pop-up party in Atlanta. It was probably one of the best ever. Every time out or something, I gave out a book or T-shirt or my own book. But it was just good. Atmosphere was good to see them. The team, came out and played great and won the game. But it's just, I don't know how that this can just keep going on. If the owners notice he's a bad guy, I heard other owners and said this and called and told me. And every time he do something, it just hurt the team more and more, in a way that it shouldn't be going on 8-9 years later, something like this. And I said one day, this is gonna be a day that this gonna come out. They're gonna hurt the NBA because the commission got a board of government. I mean, in a building of that type in New York, and I'm sitting down, if 8 guys walk up on you, I don't have no right to protect myself. That's embarrassing. I'm not a convict or none of that.
Yeah, that shit was embarrassing. And Oak said he did buy his ticket. So that's the only gripe a lot of fans have with it. Like, he was there on his own merit. He paid his money. He wasn't committing any kind of crime. So what's up with that security, man? Got that DT energy. This is the way they walked up on him.
And, if the commission, another thing, he didn't look at the tape. He lying. Because you see this tape, I mean, he'll get 5 years in jail for letting them just do this. If he really look at this tape, I mean, the fans deserve for them where they at, and they're going to win. The city need that. They need the energy. It's nothing about the team. I don't know a lot of the guys on the team, but they have nothing to do with this fight. And that's why when somebody said, "Well, if you come back and to the gun," see, you know what? That's how they got sidetracked last year. All the hype and all the celebrities, all the ex-players. No, let them do their thing. Let's talk about, this should have been gone way long time ago. So let's visit this in the summer. All these people keep telling me, well, they can make something happen. Ain't nothing happened in 9 years. The commission ain't doing nothing but lying to the. So, when you blackball me, it give me an opportunity to speak my mind. And I always speak my mind, but I'm saying this, they go with the guy who came to Cleveland and then offer me a cocktail, a key change, a hat, a volleyball, something for the. I did events in Cleveland myself, 4 events. All the people who were sponsoring me, like Jeannie Buss, MJ, LeBron, Sub, the lawyer, Matt, this lawyer. So my event came up to like 150,000, 170,000, and I had to put like 80 out of my own pocket to get it all. But I did it though, because I know All-Star would probably never be back in Cleveland as long as I'm living.
Right.
And I know the city, wanted something to do at a reasonable price, come out and have a good time. When the commission called him to do this, I thought it was disrespect to him and, for him. And he probably said, I'm one of the owners. And he probably felt in a way that, he put him in a bad space. As more we talk about this and more it keep coming out, it's gonna make him look bad because we've been best of friends.
Yeah.
And another thing is, even though he spoke up at that time, and remember he sold his team like a year or 2 later.
Yeah.
In the boat, out of all the owners, guess who said no when he tried to sell his team?
Was it Dolan?
Yes. Out of all the owners, he's the only one said no. Can you believe that?
Now, Oak giving away that piece of information right there. Like I said, man, he loves to drag other people into his situations because everyone's going to assume Michael Jordan is the one that gave you that information.
I know we all just hope.
I got the call for some next team. I said, man, I don't want to get y'all in no trouble. I'm going to do this, do that. I said, man, and I said, I don't want to get y'all in no trouble because this man, he just don't play fair. And when New York beat Atlanta, I talked to one of the guys and I told him, man, be careful because this man here, if he sees you talking to me, he'll cut you. He'll get rid of you. He that bad. And for Patrick not to be man enough to come and talk to me after I had his back for 10 years, he's a coward.
Yo, Oakley, man, you gotta stop dragging other people into your shit. Just being in a position to call Patrick Ewing that when you have a beef with Dolan, it's too much.
Could that relationship between you and Patrick be salvaged in any way, Charles, or is it over?
No. The last draw was when he was in Cleveland, and he knew I'm from Cleveland. He knew I was at a game, and didn't speak to me. Many times he's been in my mother's house, he can't speak to me. No, I'm drawing lines. That's the line. I mean, I played him for 10 years. He's just not a good person. I mean, he might make money, did All-Star Dream Team. That don't make you a good person. And everybody's just saying, well, he mad because you said he was a leader. He's not a leader. Everybody, if you ask 100 players, maybe one guy said he was a leader. 2 people, maybe Mark Jackson and Trent Tucker. I'm calling people names out. I don't care. I try to give people respect.
Yeah.
I try to give people respect. And they always ask, who's the greatest Knick? I said, I'm going to give it to Clyde because they got 2 championships.
Yeah.
And then they said, who's next? I said, Wade Bronson been playing the last couple of years. It's no question. Maybe him, Patrick, Willis, Or Patrick ain't second. Patrick ain't did nothing. You can't compare Patrick to Brunson.
Now this is where Oak begins to lose some of us right here, because this is some hating shit right here. JB has only been with the Knicks for 4 seasons, and you're already comparing that with Patrick Ewing. At least let Brunson finish it out. I mean, just making it seem like there should be no comparison at all. Like this is nasty.
You don't think so?
I mean, it's
Talk
tough
to
to
me.
make the argument right now against Jalen Brunson.
No.
man.
I want to answer. I'm answering your question. Answer my question.
What is it?
Brunson is a better Knicks than Patrick. I mean, you gonna ask me all these questions? You can't answer one question. You know how I go.
God.
You gonna ride the bus? You ain't got to pay. Just get on.
You ain't got to pay, just get on. Yo. Oak is something else. But it is what it is. This incident took place in 2017, and almost 9 years later, they're still fucking going back and forth about it. And one of the key takeaways from this, just examining the whole league, the Knicks are one of the few franchises that have good relationships with their alumni. Many of these organizations have jerseys hung up in the rafters and virtually no contact with those players. Don't let the media fool you and just a few slip-ups, because we're all human. But James Dolan, for the most part, he takes care of his players, and I hope one day him and Charles Oakley could put this situation behind them. You fellas definitely hit up the links in the description below. Check out the Knicks True Story playlist for more segments like this. Also check out the Hardwood Nuance playlist, as there is a 7-part series on the NBA Finals with our beloved Knicks. Definitely some good stuff in there. And also the Pan Nick merch store. Got a lot of cultural pieces influenced by the city and squad. And until next time, you fellas stay safe. Peace.